in English.
Good.
Check. Hey.
Check.
We are live.
All right. Welcome to Concerning Pipers, a podcast concerning all things pipes and tobacco. I'm Mike.
And I'm Jump.
And I'm Josh.
All right. Josh comes to us as a new pipe smoker. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Josh. Who you are, where you're from, what you do.
Originally from Athens, Georgia. I drive a truck from Mohawk. Live in Dalton, well, south of Dalton. And just a family man, enjoying marriage and living in the country. That's about it.
That's awesome, man.
Being laid back.
Yeah. What got you started wanting to smoke a pipe?
Well, I used to be a cigarette smoker years ago. I've been 20 years without smoking, and getting back in the truck, it's kind of stressful. So I needed a vice that wasn't as addictive and was a little more, I don't know, professional, I guess. So, but anyway, it kind of was a good fit for me. So I just enjoy it. I mean, there's a lot of variety in it.
Yeah.
You're not a slave to one kind of tobacco, and
yeah,
you know, it's kind of like being a craft beer enthusiast, but they don't let me drink and drive. So
yeah,
unfortunately.
Yeah, that's right. There you go. Jump, you got any questions for Josh or anything? Say hello.
Hey, Josh.
Hey, Jump. How you doing?
So you drive a truck for a living. So do you get to smoke in your truck? Do they let you smoke in? Can you say it on the podcast? Can you smoke in the truck?
They don't let us smoke in the truck, and I highly advise against it.
There you go.
So I'm actually new to truck driving too. So this will be my third year doing it.
Cool.
So, 44 years old. Tried two different things. And I guess it's a midlife crisis.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
do you like the time alone?
I love the time alone.
Do you?
Believe it or not, yeah. I don't feel like I've got anybody breathing down my neck.
Yeah.
So it's really nice. With the exception of all the traffic, yeah, it's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I don't know. It's kind of like being your own boss in some ways, because you're kind of in control of your own day.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with a little bit of direction given by dispatch. So he knows all about that.
Yeah.
But
I used to work at Mohawk.
really?
Yeah. I was one of the managers in the IT department.
Okay.
So
okay.
I wasn't one of the low end managers either. It was a long time ago.
I actually know somebody who was a programmer for Mohawk a long time ago. So I would say you probably know him, but I won't mention him here. Good guy. I know him. I'll be seeing him tomorrow, as a matter of fact. So.
All right. Well, sweet. Well, it's good to meet you, Josh. We're glad you're here. We're going to move on. So we're going to jump into a segment called, what tobacco we're smoking. So first thing, in order to get to that, we've got to open up a box.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
Shocker.
We do not open boxes.
No, we don't do any unboxing videos on this podcast.
This podcast.
Unfortunately, we've got to break some stuff open. So some fine people from McQueen Pipes have sponsored this podcast. Big shout out to them. They are a kind of a mom and pop. They're known as the Wooden Stem Pipe company. Cool. And they're located in Canada. And they make Tolkien-inspired church wardens. So
nice.
You can kind of picture where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
We're all big fans of Lord of the Rings here. We've got kind of a spread of the Country Squire Lord of the Rings tobacco that we're going to talk about. And we're going to get in. Let's see these pipes, Josh. If you want to hand me just the whole box. We're going to figure it out together here.
I'm gonna spin our. We have a special guest on the iPad, and I'm spinning him around so he can see what we're doing. But we'll introduce you to the special guest in a minute.
A surprise guest. All right, what's in the box? All right. Chuck, you're up first, just by luck of what I picked up.
Does that mean I have to open mine up, or you
Yeah,
just
go.
hand them out?
Go for it. Rip it open.
Okay. All right. Let's see.
Go for it.
I'm really interested to see because most pipes don't have wooden stems.
Right.
So
This is-
I happen to choose the Ranger, and this looks like the walnut oak. Ranger. Okay. So
Okay,
this is the Ranger.
This one's
The
yours.
Queen pipe. So it's a little different style, and they have 4 that we chose from. And this is the Ranger style. So very nice, very very nice.
Oh, there's my black zip I was looking for.
It's one of the shorter ones, by the way.
Sure.
And it came with a tamper, little wooden tamper that is surrounded by some jute string there, fired on the ends. I love that. I actually carved my own tamper back in about 86 or 87, and it reminds me of it.
Okay, you got
And carved that up in Alaska. So,
I believe.
All right, why don't you show yours over there, Josh?
I have no idea what this is called.
That is called the Necromancer. It is a
Necromancer.
Yeah,
It's longer. Why don't you show it in comparison to the? So it's a lot longer. It looks like it's about 14 inches long.
Definitely. That'll work for me. I'm a long arm guy.
yeah. And so mine is called the Halfling, which is
Yeah, a little bit longer.
it's a little bit longer. It's got a nice acorn bowl there. This one's actually made out of cherry. Yours, I think all 3 of these are made out of cherry.
Really?
Anthony, I should say also, I forgot to mention when we started, Anthony could be here with us because he is under the weather.
Yeah, Anthony's sick tonight. He's not feeling well.
Yeah, we miss him dearly. We've got a pipe for him as well. Next time I see him, I'll give it to him. But I'm gonna wait and unbox all that. So, if you notice, also with this tamper here, this is a wick tamper. So it's got a little wick wrapped around it for easy pipe lighting. You just light the end of it.
Oh, that's the purpose of it. Gotcha.
Yeah, that is the purpose.
I did not know that.
As a wick tamper there. So that's
What
pretty
a great
cool.
idea.
Yeah, they gave us this little pipe tool here. It's got their
Very
logo
nice.
on it. That's already
So
been-
Chad just linked in the comments their website. So I appreciate that, Chad.
yeah, I was getting there. Also, for all the viewers and everybody in here, if you go on to www.mcqueenpipes.com and pick out a pipe that you like and use code Concerning Pipers, all caps, at the checkout, you'll get 15% off your entire order.
Cool.
Yep. Great people. They're super awesome. Customer service is 100%. Pipes look cool.
They're in our chat right now.
Oh, awesome. Very pleased. Awesome.
They're talking about the pipe. They grew some tobacco and they're working on processing it right now.
Excellent. Awesome. That is super cool.
Chad, thanks for being one of our wrenches. I appreciate that. Yardism is one of our wrenches in our chat.
Oh, awesome. Excellent. Welcome, Chadism. So we're actually getting to some stuff here. This could be, so we're going to talk about, let me pull up my notes. We're going to talk about kind of what you guys want to pick, whatever you want to pick out of these blends that we have laid out. We've got, first up, we have Kingsfoil, which is from the Country Squire, a medium full Virginia Kentucky mixture with the natural sweetness you expect from yellow Virginias and the rich smokiness characteristic of dark fire cured leaf. This tobacco burns clean and will have you stomping your feet like a hobbit. So it's awesome. Rivendell is a woodsy and earthy aromatic with the slightest hint of cocoa, mildly sweet with a hint of walnut. Rivendell's room note turns heads with each puff. That it does. Big fan. Second Breakfast is the third on our list. It is a choice pairing with your mid-morning meal. Second Breakfast has soft hints of everything you would expect from your second meal of the day. Notes of buttery cake, maple syrup, and savory vanilla finish. Toasted Cavendish mixed with a variety of Virginias with taste and natural sweetness to combine for a rich but complex smoking experience. Flavorful with a pleasant room note while still kind to the mouth. Lastly, we have this one's kind of long-winded. So bear with me. This one is called Bag End, right? You know, we see where we're kind of staying in the realm of the Shire here. These are all by the Country Squire, FYI. Called the Shire blends, right? Bag End is a perfect addition to your cozy evening by the fire. Best enjoyed after unburdening from the day. Unburdening from the day's heavy load and soggy boots. This blend embodies the safety and comfort of your snug den and is a treat while you reflect and unwind. A Scottish-styled mixture, Bag End is perfect for those that love a nuanced Latakia, naturally sweet, ready rubbed and flue-curd Virginias, blended with light burley, Latakia, and exquisite Turkish tobaccos to form a complex smoke that will give the seasoned pipe smoker hours of cheer. Bag End is best enjoyed by experienced pipe smokers that are comfortable sipping their pipe and enjoying a single bowl for a long period of time. Excellent. All right. Moving. Anybody? So, what are we going to put in our pipes, guys? Which one are you going to pick?
I think I want some Rivendell.
Okay, good choice. Okay, there's some
Yeah.
Rivendell for you. Which one are you going to pick, Josh?
I think I'm going to go with the breakfast.
All right, second breakfast. If smoking second breakfast at night is wrong, I don't want to be right? So, that's what I always say.
I'll just think of it as without the waffle.
Yeah,
without the
there you
chicken.
go. Yeah,
So, waffles without the chicken.
I opened up my Rivendell bag with a Tuya knife made by, designed by the boys. I don't know if you are familiar with Dave Warren in Corbin, Kentucky, but the guy can design a knife.
Yeah.
And
So-
he made a knife.
Oh, I've used it.
Yes, I would
called the
use it.
Envy.
Just push it on
DW1, DW2, and DW3 made by Tuya. And it's a great knife, and you should check them out. Dave Warren is his name, and Tuya Knives.
Sweet.
Yeah, the moisture is great on this Rivendell. Just came in this week, by the way.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was last week.
I think maybe it was last week. I chose Bag End because I think it just fits my halfling, and I think we'll be able to. The bowl is not very deep on this pipe, which is okay. It makes for kind of a shorter smoke. Yeah. All right. So moving on, we are going to play a quick trivia game, and this goes for the chat. If anybody in the chat wants to join in, they're more than welcome. So the winner is actually going. I gotta get it pulled up here. All right, and the winner is actually going to get a Zippo lighter, and it's got the little pipe symbol on it.
So is it a pipe insert?
It is a pipe insert, unused. Right, like that.
Two-sided. Great.
Two-sided. Some pipe cleaners. And, Josh, you want to hand me that other bag over there? Just something, yeah, just one of those would be great. And a Softy Bit gift bag. Shout out to Softy Pipe Bits for sponsoring our show as well. Remember, if it doesn't say Softy, it's not the real thing, John. That's right. Softy Pipe Bits are great, especially if you're a clincher.
I was gonna
What?
say my
Nothing. I didn't say anything.
Oh, yeah? Oh, okay.
This is a kid's show.
Yeah, that's right. If you're a clincher like me, Softy Pipe Bits are great. Makes for a longer, enjoyable smoke, for sure. So let's put those over there. All right, so let's get into the game. All right. So I'm just going to, shout off a couple questions. You guys can play along, and the chat can play along. Whoever's got the most points at the end wins, right? All right, question 1. He is Frodo's loyal friend who journeyed with him from Middle-earth to Mount Doom. Who is said friend?
I'm watching the chat.
Samwise Gamgee.
Oh, okay. Point 1 for Josh.
It's not fair because they're
All right.
lagging.
Okay, let's give the chat time to answer
My
next
bad, I
question.
apologize.
No,
Yeah.
it's okay. We're gonna.
Chad got it. Got 0.1.
Okay. All right, question 2. What is the name of the elven character with blonde hair and blue eyes who was lethal with the bow and charming with his looks?
Ooh, McQueen Pipes got point number 1. 1 for Chad. Our special guest said Papa Smurf.
Good
I
one.
like him.
Yeah. Papa Smurf. All right. No point for.
Oh, you want me to throw it out there? I got.
Did the chat get it?
Yeah, McQueen Pipes got Legolas.
All right. Legolas. All right.
Our special guest gets our special guest gets 0.5 points for humor.
All right. How many rings? Question 3. How many rings of power were made for the elves, the dwarves, and men?
How many rings?
How many rings for each race? You got to be kind of specific on this.
Chad said 7.
I'm gonna go with 7.
Remember, there's 3 races. So how many were made for the dwarves?
How many rings were made for each race?
Right. So how many for the elves? How many for the dwarves? And how many for the man?
And I used to know that too.
Romaine
Casanova said 19.
Altogether, yeah.
All right. It's going to be 3 for the elves, 7 for the dwarves, and 9 for the men.
Our special guest said EMC squared.
EMC squared. That's right. All right.
He gets 0.5 points for answering with true science.
All right. The Lord of the Rings films are based on a novel written by which author? It's kind of a gimme. Who wrote Lord of the Rings?
Roald Dahl.
No.
He got Chad says Tolkien.
All right. Very good. All right. Who is the name of the Ent that carried Pippin and Merry through Fanghorn Forest in the Two Towers? What is the name of the talking tree?
Treebeard.
Very good. All right.
That's 3 points for Chad.
That is 3 points.
Yardism is taking the lead.
What is Bilbo's relation to Frodo?
Bilbo, Frodo. Joe. He's put Joe. McQueen Pipes said uncle.
John got one right.
The McQueen Pipes said uncle first.
Okay. Let's see. Let's get a little technical
So
here.
McQueen Pipes.
What is Bilbo's relation to Frodo? Bilbo is his uncle. So McQueen Pipes got it.
So McQueen Pipes has 2 and Yardism has 3.
All right, let's get
Neck and neck.
That's right.
Not like the Chelsea game today. Oh my goodness.
All right. In The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, who said, "I would rather share one lifetime with you than face all the ages of this world alone"?
I would rather share one lifetime with you than all the ages of this world alone.
Who said it?
Everybody's Googling right now.
I'm sure.
That's a tough one.
Yardism says Sam.
Nope.
That is not the correct answer, Chad.
I know who it is, but I don't know their name.
Arwen.
Arwen. That's it.
McQueen Pipes is now tied with Yardism.
All
McQueen
right.
Pipes knows their lore.
Yeah, they do. They definitely have researched their stuff.
But Chad is right on the fence. He had a correct answer with 7 rings. It just wasn't he didn't hear the correct question.
Going back in age and time, in The Hobbit, what was the name of Thorin's elven sword that originally came from Gondolin?
Gondolin's the sword that came from Gondolin.
What was the name of Thorin's elvish sword?
Thorin's elvish sword. Sharpie.
Not Sharpie.
I don't know this one.
All right. The answer is
No,
Orchid.
no.
Oh, well,
Give him a
I've
second.
said too much already.
No answer so far. Still no answer.
Okay. Orcist.
Orcus is the name of the sword.
Orcist. And much like Bilbo's sword,
Gotcha,
it also what's the word?
glowed.
Glowed. Thank you. When orcs were near.
That's true.
All right. Let's find it together. A good one. There's a lot in here, but I'm kind of
A
skipping.
lot of
through.
inappropriate sword jokes.
Yeah.
Is it Family Hour? It's Family Hour.
Yeah, it is. This is a family show.
Okay. Who used to own the Ring of Power until Bilbo Baggins, an unlikely hero, picked it up in the cave? Who was its previous owner?
It's going to be whoever has the best bandwidth is going to get this answer.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Darnell.
Who's got the least amount of lag is going to get this one right. McQueen Pipe said Gollum.
Excellent.
I had high hopes for Yardism.
All right. And
He must be answering the phone or something.
all right. And what was the riddle that Gandalf could not figure out to open the door?
Ooh, what was the riddle?
What was the riddle?
Remember the riddle. He couldn't figure out the riddle.
If nobody guesses.
To open the door. What was the riddle? Gandalf could not figure out that riddle. What was the riddle? I got to type a little bit on this one. Romaine Casanova quit answering questions. Speak, friend, and enter.
Yep. There you go.
McQueen Pipes for the win. Is that your last one?
Well, let's see if I can find one more good one. We'll make it a really good one. All right, I've got
You're
it.
going to make it worth 3 points. So
This is worth 3 points.
So, Chad-
this is ball game.
Chad can go ahead. Chad can win if he answers this correctly.
Okay, you ready? It's probably my favorite scene in all of the movies. Name the spider, a fictional demon that Frodo fought barely to recover the ring. The name of the spider. Really, Frodo and Sam fought bravely on that part. I would argue that Sam really saved Frodo's biscuit in that scene.
By the way, my pipe is smoking great.
Mine is
Yeah,
well.
these are really nice.
Very well made.
I'm enjoying my my pipe, but we're looking for the name of the spider. Oh, Chad said Shelib. Nope.
That's it, but the wrong pronunciation.
Well, I'm not saying it right. Shelib is how he spelled it, but
Shelob.
well, there you go. Shelib.
Close enough. All right. So who won? Tally up the points.
Chad won. I don't know what the
Chad.
points are, but he won since we said.
Okay. Are you friends with Chad? Do you know Chad?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. So get his mailing information. We're gonna send him. I want to give a shout out to McQueen Pipes for participating, hanging in there as long as they did.
McQueen Pipe said, "I concede to Chad."
All right. Well, I appreciate McQueen Pipes, Chad. Thank you for participating in the game.
Chad just said, "Y'all gift that to your guest."
Are you sure? Okay.
Yeah. You mean which guest? You mean our guest here, our new guest, our new pipe smoker, or our guest that's hidden behind the iPad? I think you mean our guest here at the table.
Thank you very much.
That's so awesome.
Thank you.
Well, that's
Thank
for
you
you.
very much.
And also, these two things are for you, Josh.
Whoa.
Kingsfoil and Rivendell, a whole pack.
Excellent. Very excellent.
Yeah, smoke them.
Thank you very much, Chad.
John.
Way cool.
Thanks,
Thank you very
chat.
much.
Awesome. That was super fun. Moving on, we gotta keep the wheels turning on the bus here, as my child would say. All right, so we are ready for the meat. Pipe smoking 101.
You want to just because of the way this has gone, you want to flip and do our guest and let him be part of the.
I'll be happy. We can move it on up. All right. Well, we're going to introduce our second guest at this point in time. The man, the myth, the legend, Mr. John Keller. As I call him, the custom cob king out of Lakeland, Florida. Lakeland, right, John?
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
John, I'm glad you're here with us, man. How are you today?
I'm doing great, man. That's a nice view of the light that I'm looking at.
Yeah. So really, you're looking at the camera right now, so that the people on our show can see you when they're watching us live here. So just pretend you're looking at my pretty face, okay, John?
Okay.
All right. So, John, how about you tell us a little bit about yourself? You know, who you are, where you're from, and a little bit about what you do.
My name's John. I like sunsets on the beach. I like chocolate pudding. No, seriously. Seriously. Seriously, I'm John Keller. I'm 56. I live in Lakeland, Florida. I started making custom cobs probably back in 2015, and I've been doing that ever since. I'm a former practical nurse, and I am now semi-retired, and I make my pipes when I feel up to it. So hopefully that kind of covers everything. I don't know. I mean,
yeah, that's great, John. I just got a couple questions. I'm going to ask you 3 questions. I think we're going to kind of take turns chatting with you here. So I'll start. You know, so you say you make custom cobs and have been doing it since 2015. So what inspired you to start making custom corncob pipes?
Well, like most guys, when they're new to pipe smoking, you know, your budget is kind of a big thing. You know, you can be intimidated by looking at the expensive pipes. So I was in the local shop, and I was like, oh, corncob pipe. I can remember my grandpa smoking one of those. So I grabbed up one of the Missouri Meerschaums, you know, and added that to the rotation because they were economical.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, you know, like you guys are doing now, back in the day, I was kind of like, you know, what do I do? You know, struggling to learn how to pack and light and all that. You know, just not going with the flow and overthinking it. So I started looking on YouTube, ran across the Smoking Dagners, Jason and Jay Dagner, and started watching their videos. Fast forward about 6-8 months. I'm still working as a nurse. I'm starting to make tampers and slowly starting to like think, hey, cool, you know, this pipe is neat from the factory like it is. So, you know, I started seeing videos of guys on different social media platforms, you know, making their versions of custom cobs or modification, whatever you might want to call it. And I was like, yeah, this might be kind of fun. So it started with, you know, just basically shortening the shanks on factory models, adding hardwood plugs to some of the Missouri Meerschaum models that didn't necessarily have the hardwood plugs, custom bending my own factory stems to my liking.
Cool.
No disrespect to Missouri Meerschaum.
Cool.
And then it just kind of perpetuated into making my own shanks, eventually getting equipment and learning to make stems and going from there.
Yeah.
So I'm sorry if that was long.
Oh
No. That's
You're
perfect.
Yeah, you're the star, John. We can go as long as you want, man.
I'm the fizzling star, so to speak.
That's right. So what's the I would say your most favorite pipe you've ever made, if you have one?
Oh, it would probably the first. It would be two. I forget what year it was. The first year that I won the Cobb Foolery hosted by Aristocob for my Cobb mod that year. That would probably be the first one, and then the second favorite would be the one the following year that I won with also. So those two are the first two that come to mind. I mean, they're all my babies. The other would be, I tend to make a simple corn cob every once in a while that I first started out with that I called the Papa Cob, which is made from a Missouri Meerschaum Pride, which is the naked version. And I love working with the nude cobs, and especially the Pride. And when I made one of my very first corn cobs, I called it the Papa, and I was honored enough to give its twin to Mr. Phil Morgan of Missouri Meerschaum.
Oh,
so
wow.
that one comes to mind too. That right there does.
Okay. Excellent.
Next question.
Yeah. Next question. Yeah, excellent stuff, John. So I noticed a lot when you sell your pipes on Instagram and kind of do what you do there. I noticed there's always a little sea turtle that's used as the pipe rest, or in some way or fashion you incorporate the sea turtle to a lot you do in your life. And I wanted to know, like, what was the significance of the sea turtle, like, in your brand, or what that means to you in your life?
That gives me chills that you asked that. I have always admired Tom Eltane's pipes.
Okay.
As a smoker and a pipe collector. And Eltane, being a master maker that he is referred to as the snail.
Okay.
Thus meaning to slow down and appreciate life. And I thought, well, I admire him so, and I didn't want to do the snail thing. So it's like, okay, how about on my side of the continent? I'll just choose the turtle. It's essentially the same thing. The turtle takes a slow pace. We all remember that childhood fable, the turtle wins the race, with the rabbit and all that. For me, a turtle always takes us home with him wherever he goes, and that home offers some safety and protection. And it means various things to me, from just simple things to very spiritual type things as well. So yeah, I just relate with it. It's kind of like my spirit animal, if you will.
Yeah, that's great. And that's awesome that it has that much symbolism in your life, and that you apply it to every day and apply it to your brand, and something that you're so passionate about. And that wraps it up for me, John. I'm going to pass it off to you want to go to Josh here? We're going to pass it off to Josh, and Josh, you can ask him whatever you want, man. So,
well, being new to this, I actually have a couple of corn cobs that I bought, and I really like smoking out of them. I like smoking out of them when I'm driving. They're just really lightweight. They're easy to handle, and they're really forgiving. But I'm just curious about something. So the first one that I bought was just a pretty simple blonde Missouri Meerschaum, and didn't know what I was getting. And I've noticed that in the kernel base of the cob, it's starting to bleed through. And is that pretty normal? I mean, is that common? Am I smoking it too fast, or should I, slow down on it? Sorry.
Did you ask that where the kernel, like the pitting for the kernels, where it would attach to the cob? You should say it's starting to burn through. Is that what you're asking?
It's not burning through. It's like the tobacco juice and the charring is like kind of coming through, because I don't smoke them very fast. But I'm just wondering if that's pretty normal that they kind of change color. And
if from my experience of playing with cobs, and I'm no authority by any means, corn cobs are very porous.
Mm-hmm.
They're very porous. So it could be that particular cob.
Right.
They're all different. Like briar pipe makers will tell you, with different blocks of wood. I mean, what looks on the exterior might look totally beautiful with grain and everything,
mm-hmm.
and you get to work in it, you have that lid, and then you're like, you got to get rid of it.
Right.
Same kind of principle applies. If you think about cob being like a soft, porous piece of wood, for example, and I'm going to use this country gentleman here. This is actually what kernels of corn, when you look at that grain, that is actually where the kernels of corn would attach to a cob. Growing in the farm, or, for, whether it be for pipe making or for consumption. So, sometimes those kernels actually adhere deeper the wall of let's think of this like the ring of the bowl. Right? These are where the kernels are going to attach on the outer aspect. And this center right through here, if you guys ever play around with the old dried corn cob, it's very soft. It's almost like styrofoam. You could actually kind of like doink through with it with a pencil or your pinky or what have you. So that center core is what's actually drilled. And for whatever reason, maybe nature just had depth where those kernels attached on that particular one. So I'm not going to go on the record to say it's normal, but that would be my rationale as to why. It just, from I don't know if it would be scientific or just how that particular cob is, was. I mean, it can vary. I don't think your tuning or your cadence has anything to do with that, in my humble opinion.
Okay. I just wondered if it was an issue with the different strains of corn. I picked up, and I don't know why I did this years ago, when I took my daughter to a fall hayride thing, and they had a little corn maze, and the corn stalks that they had were corn ears this long, but they were this big around. So I pocketed a few ears and kept the kernels off. I'm going to still have them, and I always wanted to plant them, and I thought, just to plant them to have for like wild game feed. Plant them in a food plot or something like that. But then I bought my first corn cob, and I was asking a couple other cob pipe makers, and they said, there's certain strains that they use and certain strains they stay away from. And I just wondered because there's so many different various strains, that if that was an issue, if that was where that came from.
I didn't know.
It very well could be. I do know. To my understanding, that Missouri Meerschaum, has developers and everything. They kind of like have a specific strain that they use and everything, and with their whole process, it only makes logical sense that they've been in business almost 200 years, almost. So there's a little bit of science in it as well. They're doing something right. So I'm sure they have their people that have made that special strand of corn that they use, so to speak.
I can definitely see that.
We're back 100 years ago. Everybody's grandpa, might have done like what you were talking about with those ears of corn from that fall festival. It'd been like, what the heck, I'm just going to hollow it out and make a pie, and if it lasted 6 months, fine. What the heck? I got 50 more dried in the barn.
Right. Sitting out there in the crib, just waiting to be used. So,
exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. Jump, I think it's your turn.
All right. Well, John, I'm curious. We have, there's so many people. I would say probably because of how popular social media has become, but maybe it's just because they're seeing people like you who, and they have festivals around their house, but they see people start things, businesses, artisan type businesses. Also, because of COVID, people have had to do things to make extra money. And I'm curious, from your perspective, do you have any advice for people who are maybe on the cusp of trying something, but they're afraid to do that next step, take that next step? What advice do you have for people who are interested in doing something they're interested in? May not even well, maybe I shouldn't put words in your mouth. Just what advice do you have for people who they may have a creative spark, just something they've not had the courage to try before?
I would say if you have a creative aspect or bone in your body, so to speak, and you want to share it with others, then do so. That if that's what you feel is your calling or what is your passion or what you might view as therapy in creating art, if it's something that someone else might admire or can use, such as functional art as pipes or ceramics or crocheting or things like this, jewelry, I would say do it. Don't let anyone hold you back. Just jump off and do it. How can you get your product out there? I would say, a lot of communities nowadays have farmers markets. I know here locally, we have 2 in the area that are very big and very supportive of local artisans. Just kind of get out, start checking into it. Maybe some of your church socials and things like that might have opportunities and things like that. Community, what's the word I'm looking for? Community centers, local community centers sometimes have craft events, so just kind of like get on the internet, do some research, and if you want to try to move your product, do that. Then you also have social media platforms, whatever platform you're on, to try to move your products. Like, hey, I made this, and tell me what you guys think and things like that. And just kind of feel your way through it, get some feedback, create a name for yourself, and get your brand out there. And then once you start creating that name and that brand recognition, then it's all about marketing from there. Then it really gets kind of, in my opinion, kind of technical. It's like, how do you go about marketing? You'll notice trends with, like, let's be realistic. A lot of people in America's community gets paid bi-weekly, so if you're a pattern kind of person, you can kind of like plan. It's like, well, I can put my stuff out, for available if somebody's interested in purchasing it. And, a lot of times, Mondays, the first part of the week's not going to be too popular, and then you'll notice cycles of like every 2 weeks, like I seriously said, depending upon what group of your fan base is, what their payday is. And some of your clients will be able to purchase them any day of the week, no matter what, which is a good thing. But you have to keep in mind too, realistically, there are people that, sometimes they're on a budget. Let's be honest. I mean, most of us are on a budget. Heck, I'm on a budget. But you'll notice trends like this, and then you'll notice certain seasons that are popular. Of course, you're always going to have holiday season, and then you'll notice things like, well, business might slow back off if you're dependent upon social media to move your product around about the time school starts every year. Because let's face it, a lot of our consumers have young kids. They're paying for school costs and things like this. So that's a precedence over a happy for meat type item, they have to put that meat aside and say, look, I've got to get little Johnny, little Susie ready for school, So you'll notice trends like that. You'll notice sometimes in the summer months that it gets slower and things like that. But just keep plugging and just keep plugging, That's what I would suggest. I mean, that's sort of kind of how I've approached it and things that I've learned over the years.
Did you have people around you locally that you could reach out to and talk to who had also done the same thing?
Is an organization that helps up and coming entrepreneurs, no matter what their product is. They they don't have a workspace big enough to accommodate, or they're limited, for whatever reason. So yeah, there again, checking your local community, your town and city options and things like this, you'd be surprised at what you can find and how it's about getting in with that network. It's called networking, really, when you think about it, because you're just networking with fellow artisans or makers, if you will, and you pick their brain, and they might be able to share advice. And, hey, check with so and so, or check with this, check with that, and it gives you. It's always.
It looks like our Zoom connection is in and out while we're talking to you there, John.
We're only as good as our technical.
On one of our sides.
Yeah, on one of our sides.
Like that.
Yeah. John, can you still hear us?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Yeah, it seemed to pick back up. John, it's been so awesome having you on our show. I think that about wraps it up from us. Do you have any comments, questions, or anything you want to know about us before we depart?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Let's keep him around.
Yeah.
Let's keep you around if you can stay on. And every time that I know that your feed is good and we got you, I'm going to make sure you're pointed towards the camera. We're gonna let Josh. Josh is a new pipe smoker, and so since the two oldest dudes in the room with the white hair have been smoking a little bit, we're gonna help Josh by just answering any questions that he has. And your audio is great, by the way. So I'm gonna turn it this way and let you see him. And the people on the podcast can hear you really well. They're saying so. Let Josh just ask us questions and see what he's got.
Well, I guess my first question is because I do a little research on some of this. What I want to get into, what I want to kind of ease myself into. And I'm wondering, is it a bad thing to just smoke out of multiple pipes throughout the week to try to build up? Because I'm understanding about the, building up the carbon cake layer and everything, and it being kind of, it's kind of important to changing the quality of the smoke that you get out of your pipes. And, it's like, well, okay, for instance, I've got a new pipe that I bought here today. It's Peterson. And obviously when I smoke out of it for the first time, it's going to be bitey. It's going to be hot. But as it goes along, it's going to smooth out. Now, is that every pipe, or are there some pipes that are a little smoother? Should I expect that bite every time I christen a new pipe and then give it, however long it takes to build that up? And how long does it take to build that up?
Well, look at this pipe and see how it's got some charring around on the inside. It's got some carbon buildup.
Yeah.
That helps. break in a pipe. It just gets some carbon buildup.
Mhm.
And I'll let John take it from there, but let him talk more.
Thanks, Joe.
You're welcome.
Love you, brother.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
No pressure.
the carbon, is good. That's good. It obviously is. It's a good thing because if you ever go antiquing, you'll see these old pipes and these old guys just you can barely get your paint in there. But that's a little too much carbon. But those guys had a different philosophy. But yeah, the carbon, in my opinion, probably helps to mellow. You can do a lot of research. I think the first thing that comes to mind is when you get the new pipe, it's loaded. What is it? Load it, smoke it down 3/4 of the way, do that a couple of times, then smoke it down halfway a couple of times, or whatever the desire. Me as a maker, I tend to put a bowl coating on, which is just like a pre-carbonization, so that you don't necessarily have that bite as you were describing to deal with. But that's just me as a maker, and I'll hand it back to Joe.
Well, I'm gonna say something that Chad said in the chat. He said he finds each pipe to have kind of its own personality. Some smoke a little slower, and some are quicker. And I find the same thing to be true. You talked about rotating a pipe,
Right?
And I actually have too many pipes, so I do rotate, but it's because I like to keep them fresh, and I don't have any safe queens like we say in the knife community. I don't really have a pipe that I just don't smoke ever.
Right.
But I suppose that if you, in fact, how you'll hear how a lot of people will say, well, this is going to be my English pipe, and this is going to be my burley pipe. This is going to be my aromatics pipe. And there's some logic to that, to keep the ghost from the tobacco you had in before, coming through your next bowl. In my case, I rotate enough tobacco through different types of tobacco through each pipe on a regular basis throughout a day, that there's always a little bit left over from what I had before. But I'm an old guy. In the 80s and the 90s, it wasn't something we really talked about that much. The fellow sitting around in a shop, and so it wasn't really that big of a thing. And I'm always willing to learn new stuff. So, but I still, even after having done that with a couple cobs,
right,
it's not that big of an issue for me. But I suppose somebody that has a real refined palate, and they're really looking for that deep found taste, that exact something, that's not me, but that finds that, special thing that, a coffee guy, a beer guy, they pay these guys $250,000 to go, taste beer and say, yep, that's perfect.
Right.
I'm not one of those guys, I can't do it. I just don't have the palate for it.
Okay.
But I'm sure that there's some value in that. I'm just, I'm not that guy.
So it's got to be like a personal thing. I understand. I mean, there's some beers that I want out of a glass.
Mm-hmm.
There's some that I want out of my bottle, and some that, I'll put the koozie around the can because I don't want anybody to know what I'm drinking. And I don't want them to know I went there. It's like I only had $10 and it was a 12-pack. It was on sale. So
I may or may not have spent some time in Russia, and they swore to me that there was a certain beer that tasted better out of a wooden, glass. And all I know is it didn't matter to me because I was not.
Well, there's a beer that you can get that has an orange slice on the glass, and I'm not going to name names.
Whitaker.
Yeah, right. And if you get it out of the can, it tastes terrible. But if you get it out of the tap, it's fantastic. So you know what I'm talking about. And I'm wondering, when I got into pipe smoking, I thought, is this kind of the same? Is this the same school of logic? Can you go down this same road with this? Because, I've bought some very inexpensive tobaccos of late. One of them that I've got is like, it's my go-to. And I love it. It's got a great taste on the mouth. There's no bite. It's so super smooth all the way to the finish. And I pay $3 an ounce for it.
Wow. Yeah.
So it's like I went and bought 3 ounces the other day and I put it back in the jar. I'm like, I'm going to see what this tastes like after a year, just to see. I mean, it's cheap, but who cares? So, but that's kind of my thinking about it. My wife's a perfumer. She's got thousands of dollars worth of perfume. And me having been a cook for 28 years, I mean, I drive a truck for a living. I can taste something, and I'm just like, there, I can make it. It's not a problem. So this is just an extension of that.
Yeah, sure.
And I can definitely appreciate it for what it is. So that doesn't mean I'm going to go out and buy any Captain Black and keep it in my back pocket. But
well, Nashville Mafia, old Willie, he'll tell you to get you some Captain Black Grape because he loves that stuff.
Captain Black Grape.
You know what? The one of the pieces of advice I give people often is if you hear something that sounds like something you might ought to try, just go ahead and try it because there's a good chance that there's some element of that's solid.
Well, here's the thing. Everybody loves Scotch.
Mm-hmm.
People that appreciate liquor,
unless it's
Scotch.
Lefroy.
Well, yeah,
that's some peaty stuff right there.
Is it really bad, huh? There's a brand I found, and I've discovered this. Okay, so it can only be called Scotch if it's from Scotland. You can get a single malt Texas whiskey that is technically an American Scotch, and it's fantastic. And it'll run you $20 a bottle. It's not aged. It's been sitting in the sunlight.
Canadian Club.
Don't go there. Don't go. You're sitting over here all quiet and stuff, and then you just go off the cuff with that.
I've talked too much. This is y'all's show now.
Yeah, I work in the recovery world, so I try to steer people away from whiskey and stuff like that. But yeah, I had my time with plenty of Lefroy, and woo, just thinking about it makes me kind of.
Yes. It's funny because all Scotch is aged in American whiskey barrels. So
I did not know that.
Yes, every single drop of Scotch is aged in pre-used American sour mass whiskey barrels. They will not use European oak because it is too bitter.
Okay.
So it's like, without us, they wouldn't have Glenlivet, Glenfiddich, Glengow, any of the Glens, as has been said. But these, they're. It's funny when you find out about these, and like I guess tobacco runs the same way. It's like you've got American blends that are really sought after overseas. From what I've heard, in years past when I was still a smoker, that American tobacco is some of the finest tobacco in the world. But I don't know, because most people, they like their Orientals, they like the Middle Eastern blends that are just like super, super, super strong. So. And I guess I'm wanting to get a real well-rounded understanding of, the different blends and what I want to kind of steer away from. Because I know there's some stuff that, like I said, after 20 years of not having nicotine in my system, it's just new for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, but he thinks I need to work my way into it. So I'm going to defer to his knowledge.
What other questions you got for John or I or about pipe smoking?
I don't really know. I mean,
you having any trouble keeping your pipes lit?
No.
That's good.
No, actually,
that's good.
Wow. I got my cadence.
You notice that I'm repacking mine because I packed mine wrong. So Steve and I have been doing this for about a year now, and I still mess up every now and again. I was getting some gurgle on my paw here, and so I've decided to repack it. So
show John your paw.
Yeah, so
he's probably seen it before. But
yeah, I don't know if can you see it? Yeah, that's right. This was actually, I did some research and I talked to the maker. This is a Clay Layton artisan paw, Clay Layton pipes.
I think that's
Layton Pipes on Instagram, and it's a custom piece, and said it was a commission piece for Mr. T.
What?
Yep. So this was a custom piece that was, and I picked it up at Muletown Pipe Show a couple weeks ago. It was on the Lazarus Estate Pipes table. I saw it sitting there, and I had a nice conversation with the gentleman, and he cut me a pretty good deal on it, and it just came home with me, and it's probably my favorite pipe I own now.
I'm going to turn this around. We got a couple of new people join the chat, so I just want everybody to see that we got John W. Keller on the podcast with us. So everybody knows you missed the interview. So after this finishes, you can go back and listen to us talking to him about how he got started, and also some advice for people that maybe want to start doing something new that they've never tried before.
So, and I also will follow up and say that all of this is retroactively being recorded to YouTube and will be uploaded to Spotify shortly thereafter this evening when I can get home and get that hooked up. Yeah.
We're not done yet. We still.
Well, yeah, don't go nowhere.
Yeah.
I know that sounded like a closeout. But
We're not close.
We're not quite there yet.
No.
I haven't quite reached the climax.
Credits are starting to roll.
Yeah. No credits yet.
That's right. Y'all keep going. If you got anything else, I'm.
How long have you been a pipe smoker, John?
Since 1986, I bought my first 4-dot Sazzini in Anchorage, Alaska, at a tinderbox, and I was in the military, and I wanted something that would keep my hands warm, and that was the impetus. And of course, after that, I just loved it. I really did enjoy it. I couldn't always take a pipe where I was going, but it was nice with the times that I could. And
did you find it was addictive?
No. Alcohol was addictive. Pipe smoking was not. I did have some issues, growing up. I struggled with depression and some other things, alcohol, codependence, but pipe smoking for me was actually probably more of a rescue.
Right.
And it really helped me sit down and have conversations with some more stable men that steered me in the right direction.
I'm not stable.
Yeah. You're not stable, but
I'm not stable.
no, you are too.
That'll be the next podcast.
Yeah, I'm not stable at all.
But I needed some people to ground me.
Right.
And the military did that. And then later on in life, after I went through a divorce, I felt some freedom there, and had my kids there, and had some men come into my life who really, got me grounded and focused on the right thing in church, and just helped me realize how, and some of that time was spent around, with cigars and pipes, and just slowing down and pausing. The fact that John mentioned the turtle is in what its meaning is important to me. Our family has something, and it's called Live Fermata.
Right.
And if you're familiar with music, Fermata means to pause until the conductor says it's okay to continue. Right. And that's my life story right there. It's just, every now and then it's just important to just press pause, because we live in this microwave society, and we want everything now, or at least in the next instant.
Right.
And I needed in my life, I needed to realize that I was, I needed to learn to stand on my own.
Right.
And my uncle, his nickname was Turtle. And it was because he carried a golf bag. He was a caddy, and he was so short. The only thing that stuck out behind the golf bag for him, sometimes he would caddy for two people. he looked like a turtle, and so he ended up, being called Turtle his entire life until the time he passed away.
Wow.
So I've got turtles all over my house,
Yeah.
and they remind me to pause.
Yeah.
But anyway, I love that whole idea to pause, and pipe smoking is absolutely that.
It's funny, y'all. We all talk. We're all talking about slowing down. I actually posted yesterday on Instagram a picture with my pipe and tobacco here, and a quote that said, "Many of us have been running all our lives. Practice stopping."
Yes.
And that's right. And it's I won't even try to pronounce this right. Thich Nhat Hanh. He's an Indian philosopher that said that. So I just saw that and was like, "Hey, that's
I love it."
And that's why I love pipe smoking as well. That's what made me fall in love with it, was just being able to stop, smell the roses, so to speak.
Chad said in the chat, so much to be said for good mentors.
Yeah.
Yes.
When you find somebody that speaks into your life who doesn't have an agenda above you,
Right.
and just will come to your level regardless of how low you are, that says something.
Well, that being said, let me kind of follow on that, piggyback on what you said. So, growing up in Athens,
Georgia or Tennessee?
Georgia.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Big university town.
Knew Herschel Walker personally.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And no offense, Mike. I know you're a Tennessee guy. So
I hail from Tennessee, but I live right up the road, man. So
hey, you're close enough.
Yeah, that's right.
Substance is easy to get into there,
Mm.
and it's easy. It's all around me, all my life. And I made a decision one day. I was like, you know what? No more. We're going to cut it out. And it was a hard thing to do because I went through withdrawals for several months. But kind of two things that I want to say about that. One was I just walked away from it. Moving up here, I found I was saturated in it where I worked. But it wasn't hard to stay away from because I kept my focus. But there was a young man that I worked with, and he asked me one time, he said, he was telling me about his life and what he was all into. And I said, oh, yeah. I said, that's terrible. And he said, how did you get away from all that stuff? And I said, I just stopped doing it. He said, why? And I said, because I watched everybody around me fall into this hole, and you don't want to do it. So now if I want to have a drink, I'll have a drink. I don't spend all night binging. And that's kind of why I took on pipe smoking, because I wanted something that was a relaxing vice that wasn't going to rule me.
Yeah.
And this kid, he told me, he said, so you just quit? And I said, yeah, I just quit. And it was so funny because he went to another shift, and he used to come get on my Heister all the time. And I tried to hide it from him. And he caught me one night, and I said, Gary, he said, Josh, why are you always taking and hiding your lift truck? And I said, well, you're not supposed to drive it. It's, commissioned to us. He said, man, I clean that thing. I fill it up. He said, I cut the strings. I even do the write-up on it. I said, okay, but why do you want to drive mine? He said, because it's the closest I can get to working with you. And I said, well, that's kind of a strange thing to say. He said, no, I don't think you realize what you told me has made a huge impact in my life. And I thought, I didn't even realize that. No. So we have a presence whether we know it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And even with this, a few people I work with, because I never smoked when I went to work there, and they found out I did, and it's kind of opened them up to wanting to talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas before they just thought I was some kind of snob, goody, oh, he lives a healthy life. So, and they're like, no, he really is. He's kind of like us. He's grounded. So, for me, I've reached an age where I don't let my hobbies and my habits rule me. Yeah. And becoming a father has kind of changed that a little. I used to fly fish every single Saturday. I mean, if it was 20 degrees, I was in the water. Didn't matter. Loved it. When my wife came out with that little test trip, my ambition to fish took a back seat.
Pregnancy test, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And every bit of that took a back seat because that's something I enjoy, but it's not as important as what was to come.
John, you got anybody that impacted your life you want to talk about?
None that come to mind. Not that there's not any, but the whole thing with mentors. A lot of times, people automatically assume when they hear, but from my perspective, a lot of times we might think, "Oh, a mentor, someone with age." No, it can be anyone with wisdom that enlighten.
Yes.
It can be male, female, young, old.
Yeah.
Across the board. I am very thankful for all the mentors that have been placed at different times in my life. Some of them still remain, and some have gone on to do their other thing. Their journey has taken them elsewhere. But yes, I'm very thankful for all the people that have mentored me. And if you can ever, if anyone can ever get a mentor, it is a beautiful thing. It's absolutely a beautiful thing.
John, I work with, since you said that, I work with teens and their parents too, but the teens teach me stuff all the time.
Oh yeah, most definitely. I was sharing with my daughter the other day, we can always learn something every day. We should always want to gain knowledge, because it just helps to make you a better person. It's like some people will say, well, I'm healing. Well, we're all healing, and it's a continual process. It doesn't, you just never reach being completely healed or completely knowledgeable.
Yeah.
It's a continual process. The wheel keeps turning. So yes, and if you're open to that, it's going to make you a better person, and then you're going to reflect that to the people around you, and then it creates like a ripple effect.
Absolutely. And that ripple effect is the amazing part of people just listening. The listening of, if we take the time to listen to people around us, no matter who they are, then there's going to be a ripple effect.
That's right.
Instead of always having something to say.
That's right. This has been very, very deep and very.
We didn't plan this.
This was very spontaneous, but I mean, it's almost kind of beautiful how it panned out. We covered a lot of topics today. We started out lighthearted with the Shire and Lord of the Rings, and went into mentors and got a little philosophical with each other, and I love it. I'm going to speak to that too as we kind of wrap things up. I think along the line with mentors that are important, I also think fellowship for a man's mental health and even a woman's mental health, having friends is very, very important. Having even a brick and mortar for your pipes, and if you're a cigar smoker, pipe smoker, being able to go to a brick and mortar and have a conversation with someone other than your significant other or your family.
Agreed.
And to share different walks of life is important in shaping as you grow. I mean, I'm turning 30 this year, and I'm only gonna be 30. So
oh, baby.
He's a baby. I was a little guy.
I didn't even have kids when I was 30.
I know. 30. I've got a little one myself, and my son teaches me more than I would ever be able to know about myself. They have a way of bringing out the best and the worst in you at the same time. So
you're one of the wisest 30-year-olds I've ever met.
Yeah.
You have a street smart that I really respect.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I try to, I always try to go through life and carry myself like I never met a stranger. And I've always been told, I'll walk into a room and I'll instantly know everyone in there. And felt like with Carrick and with you, Josh, it feels like we've hung out for 10 years, and so I appreciate that, I always try to carry that with me everywhere I go. My grandfather was like that, and I try to be like him,
Yeah.
So.
I used an example like that in our church one day. I said, I told him, I said, I told the youth when I was over the teens, and I said, do your moms have engagement rings? And they're like, yeah. And I said, are they diamond? They said, oh yeah. And I said, are the diamonds rare? And they said, sure. And I said, well, then how come all of them got them? And they were like, I don't know. Where are you going with this, Josh? And I said, well, it's like this. You know, you spend your whole day, you pass all kinds of people, you pay no attention to them. You don't think about them. Okay. And especially if you're in the car, you might make an obscene gesture to them when they drive a little silly or whatever. And, but did you ever stop to think that that's the only one of that person that's ever going to be on this earth?
Wow.
Okay. God made that one single person. Sorry to take it there, but one single person. There never be another one of them.
Everybody's different.
Every single person. So you have to treat every person that you meet as though this is a special thing. This is something really cool that I get to meet this person.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Even if they drink light beer.
Yeah.
That's right. Even if they drink,
you're not getting my Bud Light,
right?
So I love you, man. You're not getting my Bud Light.
All right. Well, to wrap everything up and tie it with a bow, John, I appreciate you. I appreciate you hanging in with us during this our TED Talk, we'll call it. Josh, it's great meeting you. I'm glad you're here, man. We've been talking on Instagram and found out that he actually lives right up the road. So I invited him to sit in with us, and thank you for sponsoring our show and willing to come on and supporting us and from the ground up on Instagram and all that fun stuff. If you're not following us on Instagram, check us out, concerning.pipers. We also got some softy bit stuff to give away to Josh. You want to give him the big bag, let's give him a little bag. Yeah, so that little bag in there is for you if you want to show it. And John, we're gonna send you some, since you've come on our show, I'm gonna send you some Rivendell from and some Kingsfoil from the Country Squire. And we're also going to send you a Softy Pipe Bits bag as well. So you'll see that. I've got your address, of course. So I'm going to send you a bag of goodies coming your way, okay?
Hey, Mike.
Yes, sir.
I don't want to sound rude, but please give the Softy Bits to someone else. Gary is an awesome guy, and he kind of sponsors me just as much as he does you guys.
Oh, cool.
Everybody that gets a pipe from me, no matter it's one of my cobs or briars, I always send them Softy Bits.
Okay.
So share those with other people within the community.
I think I knew that Gary sponsored you as well, John. So I forgot. Yeah, and man, Gary's so cool. He's such a cool guy, and we appreciate Softy Bits. But that's okay. Yeah, we'll give it we'll find another home for him as well. But I will be sending you some more Country Squire blends that we've smoked today for you to check out. Okay.
Hey, Zippo765 is in the chat, and so I want to say hey to him, and also want to say thanks to ENA's dad. He sent me a couple Costellos, and I'm telling you what, I love these things. If you haven't seen ENA's, that's my shout out. That's my media shout out. ENA's that YouTube channel. He is a great guy. He's got a caring head behind him when he does every single YouTube thing, and so he calls her Karen. But anyway, great guy, super guy. When Everett's mom passed away, we got together and he took care of everything. We sent him some things, but anyway, he took care of that. And anyway, these Costello pipes, he goes and it will find estate pipes and clean them up, and he's somebody to watch.
Yeah,
great guy.
I've got two shout outs I'm going to do. I've got the Southern Piper on YouTube. Andrew's a swell guy. He's actually doing a giveaway at the end of this month for his birthday. Georgia Piper, Carrick, our good friend, is co-sponsoring said giveaway. They're giving away some tobacco, some pipes, and some other cool swag. Check out Southern Piper's YouTube channel. Also, check out Rad Pipes. He is a guy on Instagram that will clean and restore your old grandfather's pipes, or whether you've had an accident or what have you. He'll fix it up and shine it like new. We recently won a really sweet giveaway from him. That is that unboxing video is on my Instagram channel if you want to check that out.
John, what's your Instagram channel?
JWK2366.
JWK2366.
Yep, that's right. Everybody go follow John Keller on Instagram. Follow McQueen Pipes and check out www.mcqueenpipes.com. And I think that wraps it up. I'm going to kind of close this out with my favorite quote from The Lord of the Rings, and it's from my friend Bilbo. And he says, I don't know half of you half as well as I should like, and I like less than half of you half as well as you deserve. So I think that's fitting. All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in to Concerning Pipers, a podcast concerning all things pipes and tobacco. Until next time.
Take care.
All right.
See you guys. Thanks, Chad.
All right. And we're done.